So we've talked about a few times on this call the levels of competency, and I definitely want to head into this conversation, into this training, just being aware of like maybe you looking at your business and realizing where you're at in the levels of competency. Okay. And it starts off in the top left square. This is how we get through the learning curve in this business, and things start becoming, I wouldn't say easier because production never gets really easy. It just gets it becomes a part of your second nature, right? It's just something that you do, something that you breathe, something that's automatic. So when we start off in the upper left-hand corner, unconscious, incompetent, that square sucks. That is where you're at when you're brand new. It sucks. It means that you don't know what you're doing and you don't know how to do it. So it takes a lot of effort and a lot of practice and a lot of reps. All right. And then I'll speed you guys forward because I do have quite a bit of training to go through today. You get to the fourth quarter, all right, upper right hand corner, and you're in unconscious competent. So you're all the way to unconscious competency. What that means is that you know exactly what you're doing and you don't even have to think about it. Okay. So you guys can fill in the blanks there. Think about the two steps that lead up to that, right? It doesn't happen overnight. It happens with a lot of repetition. And I love what Jim said last week. It doesn't just happen with repetition because the numbers do not owe us anything if we're not getting better and getting sharper and training on the things that we're missing. Okay. When I started with symmetry, I was terrible. Okay. I was bad. I was good at sales. I was a sales manager at a boat dealership, pretty successful at that. Came here, thought that I could have smooth conversations with people and they were going to buy insurance from me. Has anyone ever been there before? They're like, this script is lame, man. I'm just going to chat with them. I'm a connector. I'm just going to connect with this person. They're going to like me. We're going to sign up for insurance. I'm going to make $1 million. Okay. So that was me when I got here. That was actually like the first 60 days of me not swallowing my pride and ego in submitting to a system and a process that I didn't know how to do yet. Right. So my first month here, guys, I'm not super proud of it, but it's part of my story. I spent $1,000 on leads and I made $2,000. So you guys can do the math on the net. All right. My second month here, I spent $1,000 on leads and made $2,100. It was growth, Jim. I had month over month growth. But you guys can do the math on the net. Okay. My family at the time needed about $8,000 or $9,000 just to keep our head above the waterline at the time. All right. So you guys can do the math. Even if that kept happening, it was going to put us in a really bad spot. So my back was up against a wall. Put a 1 in the chat if your back's up against a wall. You're my people. This is a good place to be. Okay. We got to learn and get better. We got to realize where we're at in the square of competency, and we got to fight to get to the next one because repetition won't get you there. It'll help a lot. Trust me. When we hear stories about Steph Curry and Tiger Woods still doing 1,000 reps a day in the prime of their careers, that's the stuff I love hearing because you see someone at their very best, like Steph Curry, walk up to the 3-point line. He could probably close his eyes, pulls back, releases, and the ball goes in. That's unconscious competence. He's so competent on the court, no matter where he is, he knows where the rim is at, and he can pull back and shoot. Most likely the ball's going in. We've seen Steph play. All right. So I'm going to walk you through that. When I was brand new, I had to put in the reps. Okay. It was $500 per week in leads. I started off with 300, quickly went up to 500, and it was 400 to 500 dials minimum per week. Some weeks were 600. Okay. It was just the work that needed to happen. Shout out to Tay Cooper. You have a very similar start to me. I've been watching your numbers over the last 3-4 weeks. You have a very similar start to me. You're going to make about $1,000 this month. You're going to make about $600 a week. Okay. So similar stories. Is that cool? You in for it? Okay. I ended up making $135,000 my first year in sales. Okay. So there's good things coming for you, Tay, if you keep going and keep sharpening your skills. All right. We want to get sharper. So I'm going to give you guys a couple things today that'll help get sharper. I did that for about 18 months. 18 months. My goal was to set anywhere from 18 to 24 appointments a week. That was my sweet spot. My goal was to make anywhere from $500 to $600, sometimes more if I needed. 18 months. Figuring that process out and grinding it and learning from my mistakes. The next 12 months was pretty sweet because I didn't realize that I was moving through those competency squares pretty smoothly. All right. I caught a rhythm, I caught momentum. I understood that like there's some very important questions to ask people to go a few layers deeper in the conversation with them during appointments. I didn't get scared of doing that. I think I was just too scared at the beginning of like really getting vulnerable on why someone really needed this. So, anyways, you guys can feel me on that, right? It's just it's like one thing, you don't know what you don't know. Two, you're scared to do it once you learn how to do it. Okay. So as I work my way through these competency squares, I got to a point in my next 12 months. So that was my first 18. My next 12 months, it was a pretty sweet season of production. All right. It was pretty sweet. I bought about 300, sometimes $400 worth of leads a week. I made somewhere between 150 and $175 a week tops. Like tops. Booked 12 to 14 appointments. That's all I needed. And the crazy part is I got myself all the slingshot promotions, got myself to 105 before that time happened. And so I made the same amount at $175 a week that I did at $400 to $600 a week. I got good at this. Okay, competency. I think two things need to happen while you're on your growth journey. Skill set and competency need to happen in this area. Get good at the things that matter. There's a lot of things that distract us. Get really, really good at the things that matter, which is reaching out to a client, keeping them on the phone that first 30 seconds, getting into a conversation of qualification, booking the appointment, tying it down, running the appointment, submitting the application. Simple, not easy. Get really good at that framework, and you're going to work through the competency squares over your first 12 months, maybe quicker, maybe slower, right? We all have different journeys, all right? So I'm going to talk today about one thing. Just wanted to set that framework for the training today because this did not come overnight. This did not come overnight. Last year, I wrote 89,000 in referral business from a play that I'm about to show you right now. Okay. Helped me out a lot. Why did that help? Those were free leads. I didn't have to spend 500, $600 a week on leads anymore. I could spend like 300 to 400. And I told you guys I was making the same amount, 89,000 in referral business. So we're going to run the play all the way through how I did this. And I'm going to leave you guys today with a simple text message that you can send out to clients to put yourself in the position to get referrals and resets from them. Are you guys cool with that? Thumbs up. You guys want that today? Cool. All right, I'm going to share my screen here. And let me go a little bit over today. I'm going to try to get you guys out of here by 9:18 Eastern time into your breakout groups, okay? 9:18 is my hard stop. So I'm going to share this with you guys, get it into presenter mode. Let's go slideshow. All right, this is the picture in my head of what my business looked like. When I worked with one client right there in the very middle, I didn't just see one client. I saw a whole mind full of clients, right? Danny Young always says, when you find a good agent, they're going to know other good agents. You just got to mind that vein. All right, same thing with clients. When you find a really good client, they're going to know other good clients. You got to mind that vein. So the first thing that we're going to do is an emergency contact list setup. This happens during the appointment because naturally we're already setting up their beneficiaries. And I'm not going to give you the guys the long version. The short version of this is, Jim, we're setting up your policy today. What I like to do when I get to this page and add your beneficiaries in is I like to make an emergency contact list for you, Jim. I want to make sure that if something happens to you, your wife doesn't have to call me and worry about activating the policy and going through all the hoops of the paperwork that needs to be done. I have a list of people here that are very close to you that could speak on her behalf if something happened to you. As we can imagine, if something tragic happens, Sonia would probably be a little bit of a mess during that time. We wouldn't want to have her making those phone calls and jumping through the hoops. So your emergency contact list is a list of beneficiaries that are able to speak on the beneficiary's behalf. That could be a contingent beneficiary, or that could be two contingent beneficiaries. My goal here is to get about 3 or 4 people as beneficiaries. So when I was new, I was scared. I would set up one beneficiary and move to the next page. You don't have to put it 2 in the chat if that's you. We can just get better, okay? We want this person to have a solid setup with their policy. And a solid setup means they have maybe 1 beneficiary, possibly 2. They have 1 or 2 contingent beneficiaries. There's multiple people because we don't want the insurance carriers to win, guys. We don't want them to win. If they put one name down and that's their one beneficiary, what happens if they pass away in a car accident together? That policy never gets activated for the family. All right. So, second thing we're going to do is schedule policy delivery. This is where we're going to ask for referrals and do resets. Fred, I think you're going to love this if you're on this call today. Sarah Reineke is definitely going to love this. All right. Emergency contact list setup. I've got the verbiage here for you guys. I'm going to skip through this page. It's very wordy. If you guys want to take out your camera phones, take a picture of this scripting. This is what Sean Lyons and the digital team put together for this portion of the sale. All right. This was done by HQ. They like the way that this was set up, kind of explaining what happens when someone doesn't activate a policy and how many millions and billions of dollars of life insurance goes unclaimed. All right. Leave it up there for a few more seconds. This happens during the appointment. And the heart posture behind this, guys, I want to be very clear on this, is not to use these people as referrals at first. They could end up turning into referrals, but you truly want this policy to stay on the books and be healthy if it ever needs to be activated. You want them to have a healthy beneficiary and contingent list. Now, bright side of this play is these people could end up becoming referrals for you. They could end up becoming resets. Jim could say, hey, I don't have my wife's information right now, but she may need a policy. I'm not sure what she has set up at work. Okay. He may say, you know, my brother is my closest person. I trust him the most. I really don't know what he does for insurance, but I definitely trust him if something happens to me to start activating my policy for me. All right. Later on, we're going to make a call to those people and let them know that they're on that list. All right. Step number 2, we're going to schedule a policy delivery, keeping healthy policies on the books. I love this policy delivery because usually during the appointment, we're just focused on the appointment. We want to sell the policy, get it approved, and sayonara, move on to the next one. So I'm scheduling a BAM FAM 7 to 9 days after the initial sale. All right. And I want to do that because I want to go through their policy with them. I want to answer questions, make sure that they're in the know about when their payment's coming out, how much coverage they got approved for, who their beneficiaries are, like just make everything official, make sure they put their mind at ease. When I do that appointment, all right, we're booking, and you can do that. You can set that up in Switchboard as an appointment. You can do that in your Calendly as another appointment. Same way you set up the first one, you're going to want to set up their policy delivery. This is when the policy is actually approved and issued. All right, things that this is going to do for you. This is going to deepen your trust and connection with your client. You're going to discuss future touch points. Hey, Jim, I like to touch base with my clients once a year. If you get a text from me once a year, my goal for you is just to book some time into my calendar from there. That way we can review your policy and see if there's anything better that we can do for you and your family. All right, we're also going to ask for referrals during this meeting. All right, and the last one, last but not least, we're going to keep policies on the books. You guys imagine having a policy delivery with 75% of your clients, because some of them just won't show, right? These clients now have deeper trust and connection with you. They know you're their person. So I really think this part is key. Remember heart posture, right? We're not just after referrals here. You got to set this up the right way. All right, when we're going through that policy delivery, these are my 3 favorite questions to ask. You guys can also take a picture of this. Okay, Jim, now that you're protected, is there anyone else in your family that needs coverage? Second one I love, who else in your circle needs my help? I love that one because it's easy. And what we do most of the time as salespeople, we screw this up so bad.
Yep.
But lucky for me, I grew up at the car dealership. Okay. My dad was a car dealer my entire life. He's a boat dealer now. And he always taught me when you ask for something like referrals, the first person to speak loses. So as salespeople, we will ask for referrals like, hey, Jim, if you can think of anyone that needs my help, just let me know, okay? I'm going to go ahead and close out, and then we move on to something else. We don't let the silence sit there so that he can think about the question that you just asked him. We quickly move on. We try to wrap up the meeting and we make sure that they're happy, right? I want you guys to sit with this. Jim, if you don't mind unmuting.
Yep.
Were you happy with everything that we just did today, Jim?
Yeah. That was
Okay,
awesome.
Cool. Everything's done here. We're all good. I just wanted to know who else in your circle needs my help.
Can I tell you from the receiving end of that, I am so used to people just moving on that I let that sit with your silence for a second, and I literally thought to myself, "Oh, he's being serious. I should actually think of someone." That I'm sitting here on the lake, and that happened to me because you shut your mouth in like a quick second. That's good. You want me to actually think of someone.
I knew you were still waiting, Jim.
He's still waiting. This is not a teachable moment. This is literally like he's trying to get into my network right now.
All right, cool. We'll move on. But you need to let them think, because Jim did probably think of one person. Oh, this guy's serious. Gosh dang it. Because most of the time I'd ask for a referral and I'd be like, just text me if you got anyone. That was new Scott, unconscious incompetent. Or maybe conscious incompetent. Maybe the second square, I was like, man, I'm just nervous. I want to move on. Anyways, this is done during the policy delivery. I don't know if I'm frozen. Can you guys hear me? Face is frozen.
Your face is frozen, but we can hear you.
All right, cool. We're back. All right, guys. And this can be done at any point in the process. I love doing it during the policy delivery because it sits well. They've already got their policy in hand. They're all approved. You can ask them, hey, Jim, are you happy with everything that we did this week? Get a yes from them. That's a good thing. Move on to referrals. All right, now let's talk about resets. All right, when we go from there, I'm going to skip to this. So you guys got to remember your 5 Rs. It's like the red car. It's like the reticular activating system. If you have this written on your desk somewhere, you will use them more. All right. Referrals, resets, replacement, rugrats could be relatives. I don't really know which R that's supposed to be, but I like both. Okay. If anyone watched the show Rugrats during the 90s, it was a bunch of kids. So think about children's policies. Okay. I've got a bunch of new agents that are throwing in children's policies and they're getting their application per house up tremendously. Think about application per house, longevity. Okay, we want to keep things on the books. And then recruits. If you end up recruiting a client, that's usually a really good recruit. All right, this is what I want you guys to take with you. If you have not done this process in the past, it is okay. We're going to get some clients back on the books for you guys. You're going to build a smart list within Switchboard of all of your sold clients. If you're not using Switchboard, go to whatever filing system you have for all of your sold clients. You're going to schedule a bulk message out to them, and you're going to copy and paste this text. I've already got the custom fittings in there, so you can just literally take a picture of this. It'll say your name in the text when you send it out to them. I know the iPhones have a screenshot feature now where you can copy and paste the text of the picture that you take. So use that if you want to use that. But it says, hey, it's Scott Schnitzer, your life insurance agent. I'm reaching out to you. I'm reaching out to you because it looks like we haven't done a policy for you recently. I'm so sorry about that. Totally 100% my fault. I looked at your policies and it looks like we might be able to make a few recommendations that would benefit things in the long run. Are you available today for a quick call or later Monday? Jim, I did this last month. I do this about once or twice a year. I had 28 people respond that bought policies from me within the last 6 months and book a policy review with me. It was super helpful. I was running after a big goal at the end of last month. I needed opportunities that could come from literally anywhere, and I needed this. So I sent out the text like I do once or twice a year. 28 people responded. Okay. We did a couple add-on policies, couple children's policies, couple resets. We dove into current policies when I was brand new and only selling Foresters, and I had LGA now. So I got to look at like maybe we can offer something a little bit better. Those things do matter. Okay. So I took a look at their current, and if I couldn't help them, it was, hey, Jim, everything looks perfect. How are you? Everything good on your end? Do you change bank accounts, get married, move into a bigger house, anything like that? And then we move on. All right, guys. So that's it. We're at 9:20. I got all my time that I asked for. But guys, I hope this blesses you in your business today.
Man, I'm so glad that we have this recorded, Scott. This is gold and really, really something that so many of us need to get better at, ourselves need to get better at with coaching agents. So having this as a resource is great. Guys, if you go to Larson Life Group on YouTube, there's a playlist, High Challenge, High Accountability. Kate Schnitzer is nice enough to compile all of these recordings in that one spot. So you can go there, you can refer people there. Really, really huge. I thought of a couple things, Scott, where you were talking to that. When you said you send this out at the 6 month and 1 year mark, I need people to realize that come in here new and put this thing on trial for 90 days. Some of these leads you buy, you're not selling that week. You might not sell them for 9 months later. You've got to be here a year before you're even getting the 25% like back end commission by the time you've got a database of clients to follow up with. Like, being here a year to build that clientele is like the minimum. And then one more thing, Scott, when you were talking about learning and that unconscious incompetence to conscious incompetence to unconscious, I don't even remember the whole flow, but the flow. I came across this on Instagram yesterday. I put it up in we've got a first 90 days group me, and it was so flipping good. It said, you delay action because you think you need to learn more first, but the real learning only begins once you start doing. That's the paradox. One more book, one more podcast, a few more YouTube videos sound familiar. It's a vicious trap, and many people live their entire lives inside it. The antidote is simple but painful. It is the unfiltered willingness to look stupid in front of others. Learning, as most people define it, is comfortable because it happens in private. It's safe. Action, on the other hand, is uncomfortable because it happens in public. It pulls back the curtain. It forces you to take a shot. And when you take a shot, you create the possibility of missing. That's what makes it hard, but it's also what makes it powerful, because almost nobody is willing to do it. The people who win are not the ones who know the most. They are the ones willing to look like an idiot on the most on their way to figuring it out.
100%.
So good.
100%. Dude, that resonates with me so well. It's not like you look at the business, and I tell Kate all the time, I've got 800 clients now. I may never have to buy a lead again. Like, that's the way I look at my book of business. And some of you may say it must be nice, but that's earned through what Jim just talked about, repetition and making yourself look silly in the process and getting better and just being, I saw in the comments, be a sponge. Yeah. And then apply it over and over and over and over and over again until it works for you. So I love that, man.
Yeah, and gosh, even so much you were saying, like, you had to dial so much less as you got good at this. Guys, the better you get, the bigger your database gets, the less money it costs you to do business and the less time it takes you to do business. Right now is the hardest it's ever going to be, the most expensive it's ever going to be. As you press into learning, it only gets more efficient from here as you get better. What a great reminder this morning, Scott. That was so freaking good. Thank you so much. Breakout rooms are open.
Go crush it today, guys.